serving staff, Southern Hospitality. This is a fun place. I was here on Friday. My girlfriend Christina and Cherie were here all the time. This is a fun place. So Makia was here yesterday for brunch. So anytime that you think, you know, I'm in Adams Morgan, where should I come? This is a really, really wonderful place. They will treat you very well. They'll treat you like family. Sort of like Cheers here, so it's very exciting. I do want to say thank you to you guys. You've been amazing. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ryane LeCesne. It's a pleasure to meet you. For those of you who do, it's great to spend time with you guys again. I want to just talk a little bit about Inspire Brunch and why I'm doing this, why I think that this is an important space to fill. So in your booklets here, there's just a very simple sort of guide as to the conversation today, and it matches, it mirrors our PowerPoint. And the reason for this is my everyday profession is I'm a teacher. And so I think it's really important in adult learning to have a space where you can write your notes that actually mirrors what it is that we're talking about. So often you get, you know, pamphlets or slideshow, like slides, and you're like, well, where am I supposed to put my notes? How am I supposed to go back to this? It's ugly, you know, I don't want to carry it around. This is intended to be written in. It follows the slides. It's hopefully pretty enough where you'll want to take it around with you, but not too pretty where you'll want to like save it and not do anything with it but put it in a box. So hopefully it's just sort of in the midst of those two things. I am an educator. I work for a program called Emerging Scholars Program. Hi, come on in. No, please sit down right here. We're going to take your order and get you a drink in just a second. Okay, thank you. We just started. Okay. And in this role, I construct, I build, create curriculum for young children, and it's centered around academic excellence and leadership. So I'm reading wonderful material like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, How Full is Your Bucket, some real entrepreneurial context. And I'm teaching it, and I'm seeing it change the lives of 10 and 11-year-olds. And it's very powerful information. Number 2, second reason why I'm doing Inspire. I have had a really bad breakup before, right? In my early 20s, I had a bad breakup. One of those breakups where I looked up and I thought, who am I? What am I doing with my life?
Wow.
Right?
Preach. You better preach that thing.
There were a couple things that happened. It was in 2007, January. Simultaneously, the historical context is that The Secret was like the biggest thing in the world. And I clung to, I like literally like, I watched that video almost every day. I read the book. And in the lowest of my low, when I was literally like a puddle, an emotional puddle, I just was spreading all over the place. These tools helped me reconstruct myself. They helped me to identify who I am as a person, really focus on gratitude, manifesting the things that I want in my life. And then third, I have amazing girlfriends. We have an amazing group and network of people who I think really would benefit from the things I'm reading for my job, from maybe my life lessons from this awful sort of turmoil that I've reconstructed. And then all of us, I know, oftentimes I'm talking to my girlfriends and we're talking about the same thing. So how can we develop a culture, a relationship, an environment where together we can do some of these fun outlets? If you haven't read The Secret and maybe tried your own vision board and your girlfriend has, this is a space where you can try it. You can extend that knowledge to someone else. You can share it with someone else. And so this is really just meant to be a conversation, a discussion, and a lot of fun. So hopefully it is that. So that's the background to Inspire. Are there any questions so far? Okay. So here we are. Today's activities. We're going to talk about the power of our thoughts. We're going to talk about the art of visioning, and then we're going to create our own vision boards. So how you think is everything. What you'll see on the second page of your booklet is a map of Denver. In the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey does a wonderful job illustrating what it means to have a paradigm. A paradigm is simply the way that you see the world. It's your lenses, it's your glasses. It can be negative, it can be positive, it can be indifferent, it can be exciting, however you see the world. And he gives a wonderful anecdote about a gentleman who gets off the train, and he is in Texas, okay? But he is given the map that you're given here, which is of Denver. So he gets off the plane, he has an early meeting, he gets in his rent-a-car, he looks at his map, and he goes to First and N. And he's looking at his map, and he gets out, and of course he's like seeing that nothing matches what is on his map. And he's trying to figure out, he goes back to the airport, and he says to the ticket agent at the counter, you gave me this map, and I went to this place, Second and N, and it's not there. And he said, try harder. He's like, look, I tried, I went, I did. He's like, no. You have to have a better attitude. You have to just try. Think positively, say some mantras, tell yourself that you can do it, and go back and try it again. So he goes back, Second and N, and he gets out, and there's nothing there that's at all what he needs. So he turns the map around, he reads the fine print, and it's a map of Denver. Well, of course, he's in Texas, right? It's not going to work. He can try, he can have the best attitude, he can have the best, just context of himself and pride, but he's not going to get to where he needs to go because he has the wrong map. He has the wrong lens of his world. So really talking about and illustrating that how we think about ourselves, how we think about ourselves in the context of our space makes all the difference. If you truly believe that you cannot achieve something, chances are you're not going to even take the risks that it takes to try to achieve that goal. Hi, Randy. No, please. Come sit down. You're so sweet. It's so good to see you. You too. We just started. You haven't missed anything. Just the power of your thinking, right?
I'm all there.
It's powerful to have like the same context, okay? So what you can see here on the next slide, this is graph I picked up in graduate school from a wonderful teacher named Danielle. And this is what he calls the life orientation model. So again, how you think is everything. When we look at trying to change a habit, so often we try to change our actions, we try to change our behaviors, our character, and that's starting at this very sort of superficial level here. We can't go all the way down into this continuum and change our genetics, right? I'm not going to ever be able to have, size 9 feet. It's just not going to happen, right? I can't. Even if the toy britches are on sale at Neiman's, they're not going to fit on my feet, right? But what I can change is I can begin to change my structure. I can change the structure of my environment. I can change the structure of my home. I can put up things like a vision board that is part of my everyday structure that now clues me into where I want to go. So if I change my structure, if I, let's say I'm a person who my goal is to read more, right? And if I change my structure where I'm making sure that in my day, I'm actually assigning time to achieve this goal, then there's, again, that likelihood that this is going to happen, changing the structure. And as we move up the continuum to changing the structure, to changing the experience, to changing our beliefs and our attitudes, eventually, again, our habits and our character, our destinies do change. We talked about this a bit at the first Inspire Brunch, and this is looking at who are we? What is our life story? So looking at 3 really key points of beginning to reflect on who you are and where you're trying to go in this world. We need to really examine our behaviors. So what are the patterns that we're seeing? I know, for instance, I'm a person who, I know that if I woke up at 6 o'clock every day, I would be rocking and rolling, right? I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning. When I got here at 12, I had been awake for 6 hours. I had been working. This was great, okay? Now, on a regular day, I struggle with this. This is why we're a community, right? Struggle with this. So if I could get up, if I could change that habit, I would do better. But my tendency is to push that snooze button, 7 o'clock, here it is. So these are the patterns that I need to begin to recognize within myself if I ultimately want to affect change. If my goal is to have more productivity in a day, well, darn it, Ryan, you probably need to get up a little bit earlier, right? What's another habit that I might have? Or what works? What does work? What does work that I've been doing lately is I've been, the night before, trying to put all my stuff in an area that works. What works? What doesn't work? Focus on those things. There's a wonderful book called Strength Finders, and it focuses on identifying your strengths and letting go of some of your weaknesses. So often we try to really focus on, okay, I'm not good at getting up at 6, so I have to pound myself with that. Well, you know what? Maybe organize yourself the night before so that if you get up at 7, you're not trying to do all the things that you would do in that hour. How can you best optimize who you already are? The next part of that Venn diagram is looking at visualization. This is really what we're talking about today, is being able to spend time visualizing. And as I was thinking about the presentation today, visualization, what does that mean? What does that mean? But we're visualizing all the time. Anytime that you are just off thinking about something, you are creating your reality all the time. You'll notice, I notice, at least for myself, I notice that when I think about how angry I might have been about something, my blood pressure is rising as I'm thinking about it, because my mind and my body, again, are connected. So my body has no idea that I'm not actually experiencing that anger, I'm just reliving it. But all of the cholesterol, everything else that's kicking and taking its toll on the stress of my body is actually happening at the same time. And the same thing happens when you're thinking positive, affirming thoughts. So trying to really be mindful of what it is that we're envisioning, because we're already doing that. How can we today learn to use that tool and channel it to manifest the things that we want? And then the third part of the Venn diagram is around communication. Are you communicating with yourself and with the outside world what it is that you want to manifest? So here's a funny story. At my job, I am the boss. I have an executive director who is my boss. She's my partner. We really work together, but I hire all my faculty. I have to let go of my faculty. I train my faculty. And I found myself, my pseudonym at work is Miss LeCesne, because it's education. I found myself as Miss LeCesne sometimes saying, I don't know. And I heard myself say that, and I thought, you're the boss. Like, you can't afford not to know. What do you mean, And so I had to really think, I am not communicating that I'm even a team player if I say I don't know, right? I have to change my communication pattern. So now I try to say, I'm unfamiliar with that, but what I do know is X, Y, and Z. So it allows me to say, I'm unfamiliar, I'll figure that out, I'll Google it, but what I do know, is my expert area, is this, and this is how I can help you, okay? And just that slight difference in my own communication within myself helps me feel empowered in my work. And it was just such a subtle change. And that, again, is communication.